know what you've tuned into. The best show online. That's what you guys tell me, so I'm going to run with it. Seattle Connected, the show that connects you with entrepreneurs, business people, movers and shakers in our community, letting you know who they are first before they become household names like we know they soon will be, right?
Right.
Okay, it's official. Today with me, my guest is here to bring out the best in you. She wants to know what your vision is and how she can bring it to life. You're a beautiful person on the outside, right? But we want to make sure that you show what you are on the inside by how you express yourself on the outside, right? Right. Everyone has an idea of how they want things to look. And sometimes you might have an idea, but you need someone to assist you. That's where she comes in. Maybe you just need a little touch up, a little tune up. That's where she comes in. Maybe you just need someone to talk to and make you smile and tell you, girl or guy, your hair is fire. She's here to save lives one day at a time by making you feel good when you look good. And you can go out there and be the best you can be. My friend, the amazing Miss Jasmine, make sure you're locked in, pun intended. She is the reigning champion of hairstyling. She has a belt and she's taken on all contenders, all challengers. Whatever you want to do. On her worst day, she's still coming in at number 2. And currently, she's ranked 1, 2, and 3. Please give it up for Jasmine.
Wow.
How was the intro?
It was phenomenal.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. I don't want to give too much, but
Yes.
that was just the minimum.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate
really
you. Thanks for being here. How you doing?
I'm well. Thank you.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good today.
Okay. I like
Yeah.
that red.
Thank you.
And I'm more of a blue person,
Mm-hmm.
but I can admire red. I like red. It just has to be styled right, but looks nice.
Thank you.
It's dope.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So what's up, Jasmine? How you been?
Oh, man, I've been pretty good. I mean, thank you for having me on your podcast, allowing me to talk about, my business, Purdie Locs, and a little bit about my story with your community. I'm really been looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah.
It's been in the works for quite some time.
Right. Yeah.
So thanks for being patient with me
thank
and
you.
not giving up.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I knew it was something that I really wanted to do. So it was like, our times just had to align at the right moment. It just had to be in the stars. So it was like, we're going to make it happen. So it was a bunch of back and forth, but I'm glad you're here. It was meant to happen this way. So let's just dive right in. Jasmine.
Let's do it.
Miss Purdie Locs.
Yes.
Are you from Washington originally?
I am.
Okay. Where?
Okay. Well, I spent my life in Spanaway.
Okay.
So I was born in Tacoma, grew up in Spanaway. Went to Camas Prairie Elementary, then I went to Cedar Crest Junior High, and then from there, I actually went to 2 high schools. I went to Spanaway Lake High School, which is one of the more diverse high schools in the Bethel School District, and then the district decided to do a boundary change, and so my junior year, I actually started going to Bethel, where I graduated.
Shout out to Bethel.
Shout out to Bethel.
Are you still out in that area?
No, but I stay
Okay.
close. I live in Tacoma right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all pretty
It's all
close to each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Bethel, are you somewhat of a icon at this point?
I wish I could say.
You don't have a street sign or a parade in the works?
No, but maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future.
Maybe in the future.
Yeah.
So while you're out there at Bethel and attending 2 high schools, fancy, were you into doing hair back then, or is this something that you just recently got into?
Yeah, I was. Hair's always been a part of my life since I can really remember. My mom actually passed away when I was 6 years old. And so ever since then, my dad was like tasked with doing my hair, and he did a great job.
Okay.
I know he's going to watch this podcast, and I just want to say, Dad, you did a great job doing my hair, lots of effort, but it really kind of made me more curious about my own hair. And so I would spend time like with my baby dolls, and there was something called like a My Life, like My Size Barbie.
Okay.
And so I would do her hair, do my own hair. Then from that, I went to doing friends, family. Nobody was going to turn down like a free hairstyle.
No.
Back in the day. So, yeah. And also my stepmother, she wasn't my stepmother then, but my stepmother, she's actually the first one to invest in my, uh, I guess in me, like in my dream with doing hair. So this was like the early 2000s, and she actually purchased an online course for me to learn how to braid.
Wow.
Which back then that was pretty revolutionary.
Yeah.
And so, shout out to her for investing in me. And, it really took off from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Man, shout out to her. And I always tell people shout out to moms, but I think it's proper that we say shout out to pops.
Shout out to pops.
Yes, shout
out
out to pops.
To you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, does your dad still do your hair?
No.
I'm asking a serious question. You don't have to laugh.
He does. I'm sorry, but no, he has no interest in doing that.
He retired in that area.
He has retired.
He
yes.
said thank you and good night. And
yes.
you okay with that?
I am perfectly okay with that.
Okay.
Yes.
But if you need assistance, he's there.
Oh
right?
yeah, he's there. Always. For sure.
Okay. Does he let you do his hair?
I actually did do his hair.
Really?
My dad actually had locks.
Oh.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm just now thinking about that, but yeah, he had locks, and he had me. This was old school, so he had me sitting there with the beeswax, and I would sit there and retwist his hair for him, put the little clips in. But now he's bald.
Okay.
He's a bald man, so don't do his hair anymore.
He had a good run.
Yep, he sure did.
That's what's up. So, Loctician.
Yes.
How did you, a Loctician? That is so dope. Just that name. Like, I don't have locks, but like Loctician.
Loctician.
Makes me interested. Did you trademark that?
No, I did not.
Oh, why did I say it? Oh, someone's going to trademark it.
I wish I could take credit. I wish I could take credit. I could not take credit for that name.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Loctician.
Yeah. It's a pretty dope name. It's a dope industry, dope career to be a part of. So I definitely came into it. I didn't create it, but I came into it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Now, do you only do locks for people, or is that your kind of specialty?
Yes. So I decided to niche down. I would say about 5 years ago, I niched down, and I only decided to do services exclusively for locks. And that's because locks is my passion. I can do other things, but just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Ooh, you should say that again.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So I decided to let go of the braiding services, the twist, the crochet, all that stuff, and focus exclusively on locks. Because something about people who have locks is that they want somebody who is an expert. They want somebody who is not a jack of all trades. And so I decided just to be that person to master it.
You know what? I was thinking that same thing this morning, that artists who, as far as like, we'll just say musicians, right? I think the best musicians are the ones who really, really, really work at their craft in one area before they try to do many. Like some of the best producers aren't the best singers, or some of the best writers aren't necessarily good artists. And like you said, focusing on one thing, like I can do those other things, but this is going to be my specialty. I think that's how you really get good, because I read an article somewhere that was saying about, we always say, oh, I can multitask.
Yeah.
You're not really getting more done. Like you're devoting yourself to more things, but the time that it will take for you to do all of those things, you didn't save any time. Right. Because you're only able to dedicate 20% to this, 20% to this, 20% to this, but not 100%. So it's like really taking longer. Now, some people, if you just want to stay busy, cool, but it's not like you're, cutting time.
Right.
Now, I've heard in some of these places where women get their hair done that sometime you can have a stylist who shows up late, tries to work on 2 and 3 different people at one time, and it doesn't really help things. And now one client is in the chair longer than they would have been if they had that sole attention just to them. But I don't know. Is this true?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something that's
I saw that
common.
on your face. You said,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh boy.
Unfortunately, I think that's something that's very common
Mm.
in our industry. But I feel like as our industry grows, like just as beauty professionals, we're learning like just different ways of showing up in our business,
Mm.
And so for me, that's one thing I really pride myself on. I am not trying to multitask different clients. My brain cannot handle it. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do it. And I want people to come in and feel special.
Yeah.
Like, when you book an appointment with me, just know that you have my undivided attention.
Yeah.
Like, this for the next 2.5, 3 hours, like, it's your time.
That's why you have the title.
Yeah.
You heard that in the intro, right?
Exactly.
Come on,
exactly.
man. Anyone
Yes.
who wants to get it, they got to come get it. You know? You're not
Yep.
turning down any challenges, are you?
No.
No? You don't do that?
No.
You're not turning down anything but your collar?
Okay.
Okay. What? What? And I like that you mentioned time, because I was going to ask you. Now, you might have to just jog your memory.
Okay.
See how I close my eyes? Just jog your memory. All right, let's think about this. What is the longest amount of time you spent on someone's locks?
I'm trying to think, because I've done a lot of heads.
Yeah, take your time. I'll think with you. Just give you that energy. All right.
Here we go. So I'm thinking probably about 8 to 10 hours.
No.
Yeah.
For one person.
8
to 10 hours.
8 to 10 hours. And this would be a install. So somebody who's coming in with like an afro or just loose hair, and they want locks, and these would be for like instant locks.
So is an install is that like first timers kind of?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're like starting from scratch. Gotcha.
And that takes so much time, because I have to make sure that their grid is right. So that's just the partings that I'm using, making sure that their foundation is set, so they can, enjoy the rest of their journey. Because if that foundation isn't right, then a lot of problems could happen.
It's just like a house. The foundation has to be right.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Man, I like that, Jasmine. I'm learning more every minute we talk.
Yeah.
So an install 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
Is that common?
That's very common. And depending on the service, it could be even longer than that.
Okay.
But I just know me. I know myself. So I try not to book services that would take more than a day. But it is possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Woo!
I know.
so after the 8 to 10 hours, what does your client think? Are they like, oh, it's worth it? Or they're like, man, I'm never doing this again?
Oh, no, it's worth it to them. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
They already know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said the grid?
The grid.
The grid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the grid?
So the grid is basically the parting system. And so there's different partings that I could use. So it could be like squares, triangles, diamonds.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know they say diamonds are forever.
Yes.
Think so?
I've heard that. I think so.
As long as it's real, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta be real.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So what's one common mistake that you would say people make when they're in those beginning stages of growing their locks or just maintaining their locks?
I would say probably the number one thing would be people do not wash their hair enough. And it's so like the beginning stages is so delicate to where it's like you got to find some kind of middle ground. And I think I love the internet. The internet's great. There's a lot of information, but
I could tell you're told the way you said that. I love the internet. The internet's great.
But
what?
There's also some, there's people out there giving wrong information.
Yeah.
And so some people think like, oh, I just got these locks installed. I can't wash my hair for
a year.
Yeah, a year.
Really?
Yeah, and people believe that.
Oh, wow.
People will believe that. And so, of course, if you don't wash your hair for a year, you're going to have some problems.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to have some problems. So, part of what I do is I educate my clients. So if you sit in my chair, I'm going to educate you on how to take care of your locks. And so if I look at your locks and I could see that you're not washing consistently,
Mm.
I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna let you know, give you the right tools so that
Mm.
you can go home and take care of your locks.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you're kind of like when you go to the dentist
Mhm.
and they can tell that you haven't been flossing or so
Mhm.
you can tell. You're like, yeah,
Yeah.
you haven't been really washing your hair. You need
Mm.
to kind of
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't wait a year before they wash their hair, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I know there's probably people out there that
Yeah.
yeah, and I wonder why that is. Why they think is it gonna
I would
take away
say
from the strength of their hair or what?
I think the most common things people think is like if you start your hair with like starter lock coils,
Mm.
it can potentially come out if you wet your hair. So a lot of people are afraid of either the locks coming out, unraveling,
Mm.
or they don't want to mess up the retwist.
Mm.
And a retwist is only temporary. It's just like if you go to the barber and get your hair cut,
Mm-hmm.
you're not expecting that haircut to last,
Yeah,
you know,
I got you. Yeah,
3-4 weeks. Like, no, your
yeah.
hair is going to grow out and yeah, you're going to have to come back for the maintenance.
Okay.
And so when you wash your hair, the roots are no longer going to be slicked down.
Hmm.
It's not going to look tight. And so I think sometimes people can be afraid of that, of what it might look like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that it seems like the locks culture has really grown?
Mm.
I remember seeing, people in my neighborhood who had locks, and it was always like some older person, or maybe because I was so young, I thought they were like really old, but it was usually like, this stigma, the person who's, they have the long locks and they're listening to Bob Marley and they're indulging in some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But now it seems like I'm seeing people at younger ages with locks, from boys to girls, I'd say kindergartners all the way to people's grandmas I've seen with locks. Why do you think that that's grown so much, or do you think it's grown so much in recent years?
Yeah, it's definitely grown. And like, kind of to piggyback off of what you just said, like, I always remember seeing people with locks, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't a lot. And
Right.
even like some really close people in my life, like my aunt, my sister, cousin, they all had locks,
Mm.
but I always just thought, like, oh, like, that's for them. Like,
Right.
it's only for like a certain type of person,
Right. Right.
And I didn't feel like I fit that. But as the years kind of have gone on, I think people have been heavily influenced by hip hop culture, pop culture in general. Just seeing like more images of people with locks.
Mm-hmm.
Also social media. People being able to share their lock journeys and share different photos of how locks can look, because they don't have to just be. You can't put locks like in a box.
What? That was a bar.
Bars.
Come on,
I didn't even
listen.
plan that.
Yeah.
Like,
Can you say it one more time?
can't put locks in a box.
What do you mean by that? Even though it
Yes.
sounded dope, what do you mean by that?
I mean that you can't say like they have to look a certain way,
Yeah.
or it's not for a certain type of person,
Mm.
or have to be from a certain cultural background or a certain race.
Yeah.
It's for anybody who wants them. And so I think definitely social media has played a huge part in that.
Yeah.
Because maybe some people might live in certain places where you're not going to go out on the street and see people with locks, but you can open up your app and then all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden you're inspired
Yeah.
by that. And I also think that, it's just we have more awareness like in society, between like the Crown Act, which helps to protect Black men, women, and children um, against discrimination when it comes
Mm.
to how they wear their hair,
Yeah.
whether it be naturally locked, things like that. In Washington, we have our own Crown Act, which was not reinstated, but it was, it came through the legislation in 2020.
Mm.
And then also through the military, allowing Black women to have locks. Before 2017, that is something that they couldn't do.
Yeah.
And so I think with legislation, laws, and different regulations changing, like, it's just opening up the world to locks. like the
Mm.
possibility
Yeah.
of having locks.
As they should.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I was on a hiring committee, I'd be like, I care less about what's on top of their head. I care more about what's inside of their head. And you can take that one home. You guys can take that too. Um, why do you feel that some jobs will look at people differently based on their hairstyle when it's been proven you can have locks and have like, a doctorate and a ton of experience and you could be the model citizen, but some of them are still like, oh, I don't want this person. Like,
Yeah.
why do you think we're so far behind from getting past that?
Because people are racist.
There you go. Say it again.
People are racist.
Jasmine, say it with your chest, girl. Come on. Yeah.
People are racist, and
and ignorant. And...
very ignorant, and I can't even say it's coming from just one particular group.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it breaks my heart that it comes from even our own people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just the awareness and people just being in that ignorance and not educating themselves about what locks are. Some people still have a lot of myths about the locks. But really it's a hairstyle. It's a hairstyle that people can choose, and it doesn't mean that you are, not educated, not professional, whatever you want to say about them.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been growing your hair?
This set I've had for about 2 years. I had a previous lock journey that I had for about 6 years, and then I cut them off.
Okay.
Kind of rocked a low cut for a little while, and then I had to come back home. I had to come back home to my locks. I miss them. I can't really see myself with any other hairstyle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you that if it was true that you need to completely cut your locks out before you can't just unravel them, right?
Well, I guess you.
So you can, but
yes,
I got you. Yeah,
yes,
but
yes. So I would say there's 3 ways of ending your lock journey. So of course the easiest as far as time and cost would be just to cut it off.
Mm-hmm.
You can just cut it off. The second way would be to grow out like the new growth. So not get a retwist, not get the roots maintained, and just grow your hair out until it gets to a certain length. And then you could cut from there and still have some hair on your head. And then, if you just really love your hair, you can't see yourself with having short hair, you can comb them out, which is extremely time consuming. And if you go to a professional, it's going to be costly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jasmine, what's one of the biggest rewards that you have received from doing this work for other people? Whether it was someone who was skeptical if this was going to look right for them, if it was someone who maybe in a new chapter in their life and they're like, I want to, just be a new me. Let me start off with a new hairstyle. What's been one of the biggest rewards that you've received? And you said, this is a good feeling. I'm glad I can, make this person feel good.
I would say just giving people the confidence that they need to rock locks. I feel like starting with somebody who's either like they just started their journey or they're very early in their journey, you go through a lot of emotions. And I know it's probably something that most people don't think about, but you're really going from maybe having a hairstyle that's more accepted by society to a hairstyle that people are still, questioning a little bit. And it brings up so much inside people. Like you really might think like, you might look in the mirror and think, I'm not attractive. I'm ugly. Like, what is this on my head? Like, what is it doing? And so it's so rewarding to be able to talk those things out with my clients, to kind of hold their hand and be with them on this journey. And for them, I always tell people, I say, give it a year. Give it a year. If you give it a year, I promise you will be happy. And if you're not happy by the end of that year, then, you can always choose a different direction. But really seeing people come full circle to questioning, saying, I don't know about this hairstyle, to, oh my gosh, I love them. My hair is growing so much. My hair is so healthy. I'm feeling good about myself. Like, that is very rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sound like you mean it. I can tell when you were saying it. You got a little emotional.
Yeah.
I can tell under that, poise, that rough exterior. You really love what you do.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for that.
Yeah.
And you ever think about writing a book?
I haven't thought about that.
It's coming.
It's coming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk later.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you have a lot of information that I think people could benefit from, just with your lock journey, as you said, and everything that comes with it emotionally as well. So, Jasmine, before we go, can you please let the people at home know how they can reach out to you if they just want to say hi, if they just like send you some money just because your locks is looking what are we gonna say? Lock luscious?
Lock luscious. I like that.
You like that?
Yes.
Trademark.
The L's. Yes.
Trademark it now. This is the official stamp. Yeah. How people can, say hi, or if they'd like to book an appointment with you, or if they have some tips, they'd like for you to answer, just please let them know how they can reach you and what's going on in your world.
For sure. Okay, so you can reach me on all socials. I'm primarily on Instagram, Purdie Locs. You can visit my website, www.purdielocs.com. You find out more about me, and if you would like to book an appointment, I am on the Vagaro booking system, and it's www.vagaro.com/Purdie Locs.
Purdie Locs.
Purdie Locs.
Yes, Purdie Locs. And I was a little disappointed when you showed up because normally, some of my guests tend to bring me a gift. But knowing that you do locks, I know it's not something you can, like you said, you can't put locks in a box, literally or figuratively. But we'll let this slide this time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Give me some grace.
Yeah, I have to. Come on, but this won't happen again. If you're on here, please.
Yes.
Come on. My birthday's coming up, July 14th.
July 14th, a Cancer, fellow Cancer.
Yeah. Oh, you're a Cancer?
Yes, July 9th.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you always hear that people say about Cancers?
We're emotional.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But I hear it comes from a good place.
It does. It does.
Because we're emotional, we're protective.
Yeah.
I've heard that we're quick to cut people off. I love that smart, because you was like, he's reading me. Yes. He knows me so well. Come on, man. You already know. Sometimes you got to do it,
You have to.
Yeah, man. Hey, gotta protect my peace.
Yes.
So, Jasmine, thank you so much for all the information that you've given my audience, and just thank you for blessing us with your presence. And, I appreciate the work that you're doing, and please keep doing it, because you're helping change lives, and you might not see it in its full scope yet, but it's happening. And please, continue with the work. It just means so much for someone to not only do a service for you, but knowing that they're going to give you 100%. You're not just looking at these people like they're clients and this is just money being made. You're really taking time to, give your all, like you would want someone if you were trusting them to do your hair. So I thank you for that, Jasmine, and you got to come back again. Okay.
I definitely will. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Almost Cancer season, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Real quick, Jasmine, any shout outs?
Oh gosh. Shout out to my support system, my dad, my mom. Thank you for always supporting me and being there for me. Shout out to my children who always motivate me to do better, and to keep striving.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I thank you guys for watching. As always, it's important to take care of others, but please, please make sure you take time to take care of yourself. Yes. Until next time, stay connected. Peace.